The stories that have been passed down to us is we've been here before, right? And we've been in tougher places. And so you got to put your hope in something that's bigger than this moment, bigger than even yourself and your situation. And the hope for my family has always been, you know, get focused on loving your neighbor, get focused on the moment that you're in.
That's Dorcas Young Griffin. She's a senior administrator at the city of Memphis, a mother of two, a PhD candidate, and our very first interview. During our conversation, we discussed the vanishing middle class, the importance of building relationships with people you may not agree with, and, of course, college a cappella and the musical Wicked. Come for the civics lesson, stay for the singing. This week on What is America? Week 2. I'm recording this at my friend Sally and Jeff's house because it's gorgeous here, and why not? And hey, since you're here, can I fix you something? Welcome to the podcast if you're new. I'm John, and this is What is America? For the next year, I'm going to drive all around the country and talk to people about their lives. Together, we're going to figure out the new story of America, who we are, what we value, and what we want for the future. This month, I'm in Memphis. Up next is Gainesville, Florida. So, story time. I thought it was kind of poetic to come back to my hometown on my 40th birthday and start the podcast here. What I did not remember was that Memphis this time of year is basically covered up in a layer of bright yellow-green tree pollen. Like, all the trees went and I am allergic to all of it. No joke, I walked to the window of my little studio here in East Memphis, and there were clouds of tree pollen falling off the giant old oak trees. So it's great to be back. And also, I can't breathe. Maybe there's a metaphor in there somewhere. But don't worry about me. As John Mayer would say, I've been exploring the great indoors. This week, my friend Megan and I went to see Crosstown Concourse, which is actually a project I got to work on when I lived here about 10 years ago. Crosstown is a giant old Sears distribution hub that we helped transform into a vertical urban village full of restaurants and shops and apartments. Picture it. 1.5 million square feet of steel reinforced concrete. That's the same size as the Chrysler Building in New York City, but it had been just sitting there empty for the last 20 years. But today, Crosstown is full of people. There is a school and a brewery and a theater and a radio station. It's one of the coolest places in Memphis, and it's a great example of how to creatively reuse something you've already got. I also got to meet my friend Megan's dog, Nancy Drew, who is a Chiweenie, and I love everything about that sentence. A Chiweenie is a cross between a Chihuahua and a wiener dog. And I didn't know this, but Chiweenies actually have a superpower, which is that they can make friends with anyone. Megan and Nancy Drew and I were only at Crosstown for about 2 hours, but we literally met dozens of new friends. Okay, let's talk about the interview. Most of the time, I'm going to be speaking with somebody I don't already know, but when I quit my job and decided to launch this project, I knew I wanted to ask Dorcas Young Griffin to be our first guest. Dorcas and I have been friends for about 10 years, and she's one of these people who, whenever she walks into a room, it's a big plus. She is full of love and light. She always has something smart to say, and she knows how to get stuff done. Dorcas is a senior administrator with the city of Memphis. She is raising two amazing kids, Alexis and Carter, and somehow in her abundant free time, she is also managing to get her PhD in urban studies at the University of Memphis. I don't know if she has one of those Hermione Granger time turners or what. During our conversation, Dorcas was candid about her perception of the American political landscape. In her words, the middle is drying up. The middle class, the political center, it feels like everyone is going to extremes, and it's getting harder and harder to find common ground or even communicate with people you may not agree with. Dorcas said that America is an exciting place, but also sometimes a scary place to think about bringing up her 2 kids. By the end of our conversation, we got to a place that I, at least, found hopeful. I asked Dorcas, what is America? And she articulated a vision that A, I think is really beautiful and compelling, but B, I wonder if anybody would actually disagree with it. Like, obviously we're going to fight about the particulars, but what Dorcas said felt like the seed of something we might agree on and something we could even build on together. Give it a listen and let me know what you think.
My name is Dorcas Young Griffin, and I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I was born here a long time ago. I live here with my beautiful family, my husband Cleo, my son Carter, and my daughter who comes home to visit, but she lives in Brooklyn, New York now, and my dog Luna. I work in government, local government here. Been working in government for 18 years now, and I absolutely love this city. It is where I will be. It is where I live and where I will die.
Wow.
I love it here.
Where are you going to die?
Don't know yet, but it'll be in Memphis.
Okay.
It'll be somewhere in Memphis.
Do you have your cemetery picked out?
Elmwood is the family cemetery for us. So it's an interesting historical.
You got your plot?
I do not have my plot yet. Okay. I'm working on it.
Okay.
It's weird. You get to a certain age and you realize you got to start doing some things, putting some things in place. So
I'm starting to feel that myself.
You're starting to feel
Big
it.
4-0.
Big 4-0. It's different, huh? Does your body? Did you feel a few cracks?
I know I'm 40 because I talked to my doctor about cholesterol and back pain. I can't believe I'm saying that. Okay, I got some questions.
Okay.
What is your job?
So I work as Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Shelby County Government. That's just a big title for whatever they tell me to do. So I work for our current Shelby County Mayor, Mayor Lee Harris, and I work on anything that's operational for county government. So support our finance department, our IT department, our health department, community services, all the things. And I've been in government for 18 years, and I think I like it.
Wow.
18 years means I must kind of like it, right?
I think you do.
Yeah.
And so basically, all the really sticky problems are the ones
all the
send
wicked
to
problems.
You. Oh, okay.
All the wicked problems.
Did you see Wicked?
I did. I watched it last night. It's on Peacock right now.
Oh,
and
I
it's
really
free.
like it.
And it was free. Wow. I didn't realize it. I watched it and sang every song.
Okay, that's me too.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end of this, we sing Wicked.
We sing.
Yeah.
We sing. What's your favorite song?
Defying Gravity.
Yeah, Defying Gravity. I mean, clearly, it is what it is.
Uh-huh.
I'm a popular girl.
Okay. Oh, because you are popular.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm serious. We really can sing at the end of this. Okay. What kind of car do you drive?
I have a 2019 Honda Pilot.
Okay.
And I am going to ride that thing until the wheels fall off.
Those things are huge.
They are.
Yeah.
But it's just,
what
it's
do you need all that space for?
I told you. I got a 9-year-old. I got a dog. I got a husband.
Wow.
All the things. Moms need space.
Okay. What is something people may not know about you?
That I was in Pitch Perfect before Pitch Perfect was a thing. I was in my college a cappella group. I was like the leader, the director for a couple of years.
Wow.
Yep.
I was also in my college a cappella group.
For real?
Yep. Harvard Crocodillos.
I did not know
way
that.
back in the day.
I was in the harmonics, the UNC, University of North Carolina harmonics.
What was your voice part?
Soprano.
Okay.
I'm soprano.
Baritone.
We
harmonize later.
We really are going to sing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What is something you've been feeling grateful for lately?
My family. Absolutely my family. Just waking up every morning and just having them. Last night, my daughter is home. And so we had an opportunity. All 5 of us climbed up on the bed and watched TV together.
Wow.
Well, she was on her phone. Carter was on his iPad. I think Cleo was tapping on his phone. but
But it's
was
still
just
something.
It was a moment.
Don't undersell it.
No, I mean, it was like just the physical togetherness and just family. Right now, that matters more than anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to edit out all the parts of me.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. What's something you're really proud of accomplishing?
I think marriage. I didn't get married. Cleo and I have been married for 11 years now, almost 11 years.
Yeah.
So I got married a little bit later, I guess, quote unquote, later, my late 30s. And marriage is not for the weak. We laugh every day and say, this is a choice, right?
Yeah.
Like you make a conscious choice to be with someone and to make decisions with someone. And I'm proud of just how awesome we have done. Like
I've told you
about
before that you guys are living the dream. Like this family is.
Well, we are raggedy. No, be clear. We are raggedy, but we make a choice to be raggedy together. Like many mornings, I say this. We laugh. I'm like, we are hanging on by a dirty toenail. Like, every day. Like everybody's going at 100 miles an hour, doing different things, but we love each other. But we're together and we choose this, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of us.
It's beautiful from the outside. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful from the inside. It's a mess, but it is beautiful. It's a beautiful hot mess. Yeah. So
you might have heard this research in India. They have both arranged marriage and love marriage, and different people choose the different options. So on average, love marriages start very happy, and then over time they get less happy. And then arranged marriages, on average, start unhappy, but then they get more happy.
Right.
Do you know why?
I don't know why, but I have some thoughts. You tell me why.
Well, no, I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, I mean, I would just assume that, like, even if you go into it, first of all, you chose to go into it, like, and you know that as you get in an arranged marriage, you make the choice day after day, and you learn something new about someone, and you just become more comfortable. I figure with, when you start out in love and it's all, all your adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like when that wears off, man, that's a shock to your system, right?
So,
So tell me the real reason.
Well, no. The researchers came to the exact same conclusion as you.
Really?
So with arranged marriage, you know that you gotta work.
Right.
Right? Like
right.
You don't know this person.
Right.
They're a stranger.
Right.
And if it's gonna work, then you
gotta
work.
Right.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we weren't arranged, but we sure enough are working. So.
Yeah. So Brian and I are hoping to have an arranged marriage.
That's the right spirit.
Yeah. Yep. In that every day you gotta choose it.
You gotta choose it.
Yeah.
And you gotta work.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of the work because it is easy. You can come up with a reason every day to not do this, right? Like Cleo could say today, you know what, I am out. But he's
not going to say that.
No, he won't.
Yeah.
He won't. He needs me to help him put his sock on.
He knows how lucky he is. Yeah.
We need each other.
Yeah.
We've often said we go together forever. I mean, because what we are building, what we have built and what we're building is so much more important than a fleeting moment of being tired or being annoyed. Like, whatever. Yeah. Get past it.
So you grew up in Memphis?
Born and raised.
Okay.
1977. So that makes me, I'll be 48.
1985.
Oh,
so
you
we're
85.
close. Yeah.
Close. Yeah. I'll be 48 this year.
Okay.
But born and raised. My parents were born and raised here. So, I mean, I can't point to generations outside of Memphis. I shouldn't say that. My grandmother's people may have been from Mississippi. Mm-hmm. But I have been here all my life. I left to go to school at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
Okay.
Tar Heels, even though basketball didn't go very well this year.
Okay.
I'm still a Tar Heel, diehard Tar Heel fan. But went through public schools here. I have 3 brothers. One of my brothers is the mayor of Memphis. Whoa, I know.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
You weren't going to bring it up.
Yeah,
we can say
because you're your own story. Paul is doing his thing.
I am my own story, but I think that my story and his story like, I think it tells a story of connectedness of Memphis, and just our families being, our family is woven into the fabric of Memphis.
Correct.
And I think he would tell you, like, there is no winning an election, being mayor, if we hadn't grown up the way that we did. We grew up, both of my parents were pastors of a church. So that means we were double trouble, mama and daddy. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, we have grown up in the church. Church was just who we were, right? Like, we spent so much time with other people, fellowshipping. Our values were set by the Black church here. And I just think it tells it. I'm sure we'll get into it, but it tells a lot about who I am and just how I approach my life.
So you grew up in church
I did.
with two preacher parents.
Two preacher parents.
And what values did they instill in you?
You know, I think probably the most important value is to treat other people the way you want to be treated, right? I think we led with that. I saw it in my home. I saw it with church members. We were just always taught, how is it that you want to feel? That's what you need to do. And so because of that, we've been taught to love people, to have grace. So that means even when people mess up, that, you know, there may be accountability, but there's love in that. We have just been taught to have integrity. When you tell people you're going to do something, do it. If you can't, don't say you will. To work hard. And just really everything that we are and everything we do has to be led with love. And so if that's the litmus test, that's all that matters. So I just, in this world right now, it can feel really chaotic and it can feel crazy and you can feel overwhelmed. But I'm always like, remember what Diane and William told you: love first. Love first, worry about the other stuff later.
Wow.
Hi, me again. This is the part where I ask you to please like this podcast, smash that like button, comment, and subscribe to my channel, which is teeny tiny right now. Last week, I got an email from my podcasting platform saying, "Congratulations, John, on your first 10 downloads." Wow. What was it Lao Tzu used to say? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Like, comment, subscribe. Okay, back to the interview.
So you grew up in Oak Haven.
I did.
Yeah, talk to me about Oak Haven.
So Oak Haven is a part of Memphis. It's not far from the airport area of Memphis. When my parents moved in 1976, I wasn't there yet. I was coming a few months later. But, you know, I'm often told the story. They were the first Black family in their neighborhood. And my dad told me the story of, you know, being the first there and how proud they were to have the home they had, but they had challenges. He said he remembered having to chase some guys away, some white guys that tore up the mailbox, right? Like, you shouldn't be here. And so he ran after them and chased them. I don't know the rest of the story, but I know that it was one of those moments where he was just faced with racism head on. But I also know a story. You asked me a little known story. I know that the white neighbors that we had on one side of us saved my life. In 1978, December 27th, 1978.
Wow.
I, for reasons still unknown, fell off of a table and stopped breathing. They don't know if it was a seizure or what. And my dad and mom recall the story where, you know, they were frantic as any parents would be. My dad said he ran out in his underwear in the cold and didn't know what to do. Went to the neighbor's house, and those white neighbors came over. The mother came over and sat with my mom as she cried and screamed. and prayed with her. The son gave CPR, and I was rushed to the hospital. And on the way to the hospital, they said, we don't know if she will ever be a normal kid.
Whoa.
At normal, whatever normal is. She'll have seizures for the rest of her life. And I am a testimony. My life is a testimony. One, I've had no health conditions from that. And two, those neighbors became lifelong friends. Even at a time when just months before, my dad was chasing down people knocking over his mailbox.
Wow.
So, I mean, there was, even though they were the first, there were stories of racism and there were stories of love that rooted us in Oak Haven.
So last night you and I were trading some voice memos.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
And you said something about Oak Haven used to be middle class. And you talked about the black middle class in the past tense several times in Memphis. So what happened to the middle?
I mean, I guess the middle is shrinking all across America. I don't know if that's just a black and white, a black thing or a white thing or anything. I think that the extremes are becoming just more pronounced, the have and have nots. And, even in our way of thinking about how we create policy, I think many times it is more focused on one of the extremes. And I think, over time that shrinks your middle class.
And what do you think, both in Memphis and in the country as a whole, that shrinking middle, what do you think the knock-on effects of that have been?
I think that, maybe my answer won't be super eloquent, but I think that the effect is where we are right now. Everything feels so extreme and there is no middle ground, right? Like, I think the shrinking middle class is synonymous with our shrinking middle ground in politics. Everything is black or white. And the truth is most things are gray. Right. Most things are. And, I think that when your middle class is not as pronounced, then you lose sight of that gray area and you're either or.
Okay. So 1976, 2025.
Yeah.
Has the situation changed or is it staying the same?
In general, in Memphis or everywhere, or just answer it however I want to.
Yeah. Take it where you want to.
I think that it has changed, in some ways good. When I think about, this podcast is not about my brother, but he often tells this story of my dad before my dad passed away, and before my brother made a decision to run. My dad was like, your grandparents couldn't have imagined that you could even think about running to be the mayor of Memphis, Tennessee, where Dr. King was killed. And now he's the mayor, right? Like, you think about like that trajectory that my grandmother was out there marching with Dr. King before he died, to now, being in seats of power. Things have changed. But also when I think about just where we are, both locally and as a country, where we're so divided on racial lines, where there is no middle ground. Sometimes it feels on certain issues, it feels like we may be set back. So I guess it's just a both and. It's good and it's bad.
Yeah.
And that seems so oversimplified to say, but it's the truth.
It doesn't seem simple at all.
Does it?
Are you saying it's both at the same time? That doesn't seem simple.
Two things are true at once, all the time. And so there are things that I am super grateful for, strides that we see. I mean, I look in this home that I live in with my husband and my children.
You guys can't see it. This is the American dream. This is beautiful.
and that's a blessing, right? Like, my ancestors, I've seen shirts, I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams. I absolutely am.
Yeah.
And I recognize that there is still so much work to do. right? And so, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's talk about the election. Who'd you vote for?
Kamala Harris.
Okay.
I voted for Kamala Harris.
Okay. And
Unapologetically.
great. When you cast that vote, what was in your mind? Why did you cast it?
I believe that, so one of the things I didn't mention, so I work in government, but I am in probably the last home stretch of getting my PhD in urban affairs at the University of Memphis. And so I really am a government nerd, right? Like institutions of government, they fascinate me. And I am a firm believer, like I've worked in nonprofit, I'm a church girl, private sector keeps money flowing, right? Like, so I get it. But I believe that government, when done right, is the one thing that can get us to that place that I just mentioned, where we all have access to the same things. We have access to not just the stuff, but also the hope that makes America. And so for me, I just in my soul believe that value-wise that Kamala Harris and her team would protect and try to perpetuate those institutions moving towards good. And so it was an easy choice for me.
Zooming out,
Yeah.
how do you think democracy in the USA is going?
I don't know. That's my best answer. I mean, democracy has always been an experiment, right? Like it really has. Even I think that when our forefathers of this American experiment got started, America didn't look the way that it looks now. It sounded real good to have, people from everywhere coming and, being a part of this dream that we push towards together. But it's a lot harder in practice than it probably was in theory. And I don't know, it feels like right now that we may be going a little bit in a different direction than what was dreamed about and anticipated for this country.
I think definitely. I think the founding fathers had a certain idea of who was going to vote.
Right.
And they had a certain idea of what technology was, or even, how big the country was.
Right.
So it's different. If you think about what's working and what's not working in our democracy, do you have things in each column?
I mean, again, like there are just so many different voices that it's hard sometimes to figure out how to give equal voice to everyone who matters, which is everyone, right? I think, also the thing that I think we struggle with is I think we want freedom, but freedom is not free, right? Like it comes with a cost. If we want freedom for our collective country, it requires some sacrifice from us all. And that's not total, like it's not total. We've become very individualistic, like, hey, what do I need? What do my people need? What does my family need? And we don't understand that we are linked to one another. So we have to sacrifice in order for this whole thing to work. And I think it's just so complex. I think that is the thing that we are pushing up against every day, is all of us having the same incentive and, quite honestly, ability to sacrifice. Because sometimes, there are people that just, for whatever reason, economically, physically, whatever, they can't make the same. We can't all make the same sacrifice. But there have to be sacrifices for us all to have collective freedom.
So I that sounds right to me, but I'm not sure I exactly understand what you mean by sacrifices. So talk to me about sacrifices.
So sacrifices, we want a safe country, right? Like, so again, I won't get into the issues that divide us so much, but we want a safe country. We want our kids to be free from gun violence. But there may be, not an unwillingness to give up what you see as your freedom to just have a gun unchecked, right? Like you're like, well, I shouldn't have to give this up for the country. There are other ways for things to be free. Well, I mean, that's a whole political discussion, but I mean that's just one area. Or even economically, just understanding that there are people that have and there are people that have not, and so figuring out a way for us all to be able to have basic necessities may require sacrifices, like a tax, right? Like, and again, these become so political, but there are things that we want for our country. We want clean water. We want streets. We want all of these things, but we're like, but no, you can't take mine in order for that to happen. So I know.
That's tough.
That's tough. It's
So
tough.
Before this, you and I were talking about the red button and the blue button.
Right.
And I want to know how you feel about your options when you go to the polling booth.
I mean, I wish there were other options than just red or blue. But I also understand, again, in this great experiment, the more options that are out there, I mean, it just becomes even more difficult to figure out what. At some point, there has to be a decision made, right? Like, and with all of us and 5,000 options, how do you ever get to a place where you finally make a decision to do something?
Right. I mean, you were talking about basic necessities just now.
Right.
And I agree with you that for many people, things like rent and groceries are just kind of drifting out of view.
Right.
And I look at the red button and the blue button, and I don't think really either of those buttons
are doing
doing anything about it.
I know. I'm supposed to be like the best guest you have. I don't have any answers, John. I think I think that's where many of us, as you go on this road, you will find we're like, we just don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Like, I don't know that it's in either party, but I also don't know that, having 12 other options gets us closer either. I just don't know. And part of my challenge is because I don't know, just not getting stuck in this place of like, I don't know, so I do nothing. I just go into my hole and hide myself until
That's so relatable.
Oh my gosh. Because you're like, well, when does the answer come? How do I manage through like the lack of either option or any answer being able to fix what I feel like is just a sunken place right now?
It's tough. I mean, I think maybe if you ask people, maybe most people would feel stuck like that.
I think so too. But I think that even, again, it's the duality, particularly a black, we're going back to being a black girl in Memphis or just being a black Memphian. The stories that have been passed down to us is we've been here before, right? And we've been in tougher places. And so you got to put your hope in something that's bigger than this moment, bigger than even yourself and your situation. And the hope for my family has always been, get focused on loving your neighbor. Get focused on the moment that you're in, the moment that John and I are sitting in with each other, like providing hope to each other despite whatever the circumstances are around us. Like that's how you get through until you get to the other side of darkness.
Hallelujah. Whoa.
You coming to church Sunday now, huh?
Yeah. Let's talk about how we talk about politics, how we talk about political issues.
Right.
How would you rate the way we talk about politics?
I think we get is there anything less than a 0 out of 10? I mean, it's just, no one is hearing anyone, right? Like we talk about it in very, again, extreme terms. It's either this or either that. Either you support Kamala or you support Trump, right, during the election. Either you hate what Trump is doing right now and the policies being made, or you love them. It's never that simple. But I think that we have a hard time talking about nuance and duality, and that more than one thing is true for all of us. And because of that, because we tend to roam to the extremes, it usually turns into just something that's unproductive where people can't hear you. Not only can they not hear you, they don't see you. And when I stop hearing and seeing you, I stop like respecting your humanity. And so I think politics right now is just breeding just a lack of respect for our humanity.
I don't disagree. What prescription do you have? What do you think we can do better?
I think creating spaces to have relationships outside of politics, having meals with each other, not leading with political talk. I have friends who didn't vote for Kamala Harris. In fact, I have friends that probably very actively campaigned against Kamala Harris, right? I told you I was all in. Those people are not my friends, right? Like those are not people that I could not call right now and say, hey, how you doing? Let's go sit and have cocktails, right? Because our relationship is not built on politics. It's built on our
cocktails.
Cocktails. French 75.
Okay.
Delicious. So good.
Yeah.
It's built on our humanity. And so I think just creating more opportunities where we see each other as human, and leaving the politics alone. Even though, we want to fight our point, we want people to see the right side of stuff. There's a time and place for that. And quite honestly, I think we teach each other more about all of those political things when people can see us, right? Like the proximity to me and proximity to my family situation and my work for my friends shows them perhaps a different perspective about an issue better than I could ever tell them, right? Like just me yelling it is very different than them seeing me.
Do you want to yell it?
No, I'm not going to yell it. Not today. Not on this podcast.
Okay.
Maybe another one.
But what you said about proximity, I think is real. And I think we live with a lot of the fallout from COVID, in that a lot of that connective tissue was wiped out.
Right.
And how do you build it back so that we aren't just yelling at each other across a divide?
I think it takes a lot of intentionality. I think, again, there are certain things that have happened just in the normal course of getting back into life. Like our kids are back in school. I'm back in the office full time. I think, using those opportunities to build relationships, to invite people out, invite people into your home, invite people to your church, sometimes we assume that people wouldn't come, right? Like, you know, I found that with church, like just invite somebody, they may be of a different faith, but they just want to understand me better. Right. And are willing to come. It doesn't mean that I'm trying to convert you to Christianity, but it does mean that I'm trying to convert you to love, right? Like to
Yeah.
loving me and seeing me and understanding who this girl is.
That's
right?
beautiful. Is there anything out there that's giving you hope right now?
This, I mean, just you can. I have unsuccessfully kind of given up social media and the news, right? Like I still dibble and dabble a little bit, but I don't spend as much time because it can just feel so overwhelming. Because if you watch those things so much, you will start to think that the world is just full of people who don't care, who are mean to each other. And that's not true. I think my hope comes in conversations like this, like sitting with you and hearing about just what you are venturing off to do. I think just sitting with friends that don't look like me or think like me, that gives me hope. It gives me hope because it makes me recognize that our shared humanity really, if it is activated, is stronger than any forces of evil ever could be, or any forces of darkness. So I think the more we do this, you know, you and I do it, others do it. I think we're building up like our super army of just good humanity. And that, for me, like that's the superhero story I want to see. I
Yeah.
will buy my ticket for because I believe
That's love.
that's love.
Yeah.
That's love.
So if I ask you today, what is America? Dorcas, what is America?
It's my laugh enough. I don't know. I don't when you like I was so excited to sit down with you. I'm excited about what you're doing. And I don't know, when I started saying, well, he's definitely going to ask me what is America. It's like, so what's your answer? It's like, I don't know. Um you know, it's lots of different words come up for me. Um, you know, this idea of like the melting pot, this place where so many different people with so many different backgrounds, but some shared values coexist and push towards better for all of humanity. That's what I hope America will be, right? But what is it today? Um, it feels like, I guess it is that, but we are just in, what do they talk about? The forming, storming, norming. Have you ever heard that?
No.
Like in team development, like go to an HR conference, you'll hear it. I guess we are just in this storming phase of America. We've been there for the last 200 plus years of just trying to figure out how we get to this place of this ideal melting pot of shared values. And so just in the storm, it feels like I don't know. But I think America is what I believe I want it to be. I hope that answers your question, sort of, kind of, or you're going to unpack it. I can feel it. I can see it on your face.
Let's unpack it.
Okay.
America, you think, you hope it is that melting pot,
Right.
where everybody can find their opportunity,
Right.
where everybody can find that peace.
Find that peace where I mean, our different experiences, we may have those different experiences, those different backgrounds, but there are some shared values. Like this idea of freedom that includes sacrificing for the greater good. Shared values of loving your neighbor as you love yourself, right? And not in this, so many times people will make that, oh, you're trying to take this back to the Bible. That's not about, this is just This is just
That's in the
human-
founding
that's
documents.
founding documents, like treat other people, love other people the same way you love yourself, and always pushing for good for your brother. Like that's what I hope America is.
And that gives me some hope, because everybody's going to disagree on the particulars.
Right.
But I think you'd have to look real hard to find somebody who would not agree with at least the vision of that.
Right. Right. It's now the path of how you get there, what the policies are that you put in place, what
We're
the institutions
bitterly argue. We're going to fight.
Fight.
But I'm interested to go on this journey
Mm-hmm.
and sort of test to see whether other people have that same view, that same
Right.
vision. It doesn't seem controversial to me. I'm putting my cards on the table.
We'll see. Let me know
We'll
a year
see.
from now.
Yeah. Okay, last question.
Yes,
What's
yes.
next for you? Where is Dorcas Griffin Young going next? Dorcas Young Griffin.
Yeah. I am going to finish watching the Elite Eight today.
Okay.
You know, I think about the next moment, the next hour. But what's what's next? I continue to work in government. I finished this PhD. I don't know. People have said, "Why are you getting a PhD?" I don't know. Just to have different opportunities to learn more. Maybe teach a bit. I'm not sure. We'll see. Enjoy these children growing up. Try to make sure that I am healthy, physically, mentally, spiritually, to be able to be an advisor to them as they grow up in this world. I would love to continue to try to be a voice of certainty in uncertain times for them. And if I can do that, then that's good enough.
I mean, you make it look easy. Yeah. Thank you,
John.
Dorcas. Wow,
Thank you,
Jinx.
John. I know.
This has
I
been
know.
so much fun.
I know. It
Yeah.
has.
Wow. Not going to lie, I think I nailed it picking our first podcast guest. As Dorcas mentioned, both of her parents are preachers, and while she was speaking, I could actually see the paragraph breaks in what she was saying. Like, under each paragraph, there was a topic sentence, and then there were 2 or 3 supporting arguments underneath that, which is pretty impressive given that she was speaking off the cuff. She also gave us a lot to chew on. The middle class is where America gets its strength. So how do we protect it and build it back up? How do we regrow some of the social connective tissue we lost during COVID? Finally, how do we create a society where everyone has access to that peace and that opportunity? America can be a melting pot, or it can be a shouting match. It's up to us. Okay, I'm about to get out of here, but first, I want to ask for your help with something. I need help with social media. I deleted my accounts 7 years ago and only recently recreated them as a way to help get the word out about the podcast. Do you know a social media wizard? Maybe somebody who does this full time for their job? If so, I would appreciate an introduction ever so much. My email is whatisamericapodcast@gmail.com. If you're trying to stay connected and follow along with the journey, the best thing you can do is sign up for the newsletter. Go to whatisamericapodcast.com and enter your email. I am present on social, albeit not yet proficient. The handle is @whatisamericapodcast on YouTube, Instagram, and yes, TikTok. Finally, if audio is your jam, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and really wherever you get your podcasts. Let me know what you think of the audio edition. I want to say thank you to 3 people who helped make this podcast a reality. Many of you have admired the footage of me walking around in Joshua Tree in the desert. I wish I could take credit for that. That's actually my friend, Adra Jensen. She is a cosmic rock star and also a really talented photographer. You can follow her on Instagram @IamAdra. Finally, I want to say thank you to Sally and Jeff Rosenberg. They are actually letting me stay with them in their house while I'm here in Memphis. Thank you, Sally and Jeff. And also, I'm so sorry for leaving the air conditioning on. I just like it really cold when I sleep. Lord Willin and the Crick Don't Rise will have another podcast for you next week. Until then, I'll leave you with the Gandhi quote that launched this whole crazy adventure. The act may seem small, but it's important that you do it. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.